the main issue, I think, in my 30 years experience, people still we have a dichotomy that mental disease and physical disease are different. But as for the latest science, all the mental diseases are disease of the brain. The really mental problems are symptoms of the disease of the brain. The mind is also part of the body. So physical, unless you do some physical exercise, you, physical exercise also greatly modulate our mental health. So first thing I will advise to have a good mental health, we should have a good physical health. Right. Because brain is a part of the body. Right. So if you have a good exercise, good sleep, good diet, so that we can also have a brain health. Those people who are more anxious, they usually eat more because suppose food as work as anxiolytic. Most of the depressed people also those are anxious. They try to alleviate their anxiety through foods.
Namaste. Welcome to Uday, India. I am KK Das. Today we are going to talk about an important issue that is engulfing the world, not just the world, India as well. The mental health crisis is the biggest crisis that our youth are facing today. Also, this is affecting the elderly generation as well. But let's look at the Gen Z, the young people. Today, the challenge is that people are going through enormous stress. They are facing that stress in their schools, in their colleges, in their relationships, also at their workplaces. And as we grow economically, become a big economy in the world, we also have to look at health as one of the important component of a good society. A sustainable, good society requires healthy human beings contributing effectively to the growth of the country. As we look at Viksit Bharat in 2047, mental health has to be one of the important components how we see our Viksit Bharat taking shape. In today's discussion at Uday India, we are going to welcome a doctor, a psychiatrist who has done 3 decades of research, treatment, intervention, training in the specific sector of mental health disorders, and as a psychiatrist he has created a name for himself, and today he is going to share some of his experience how he has been able to see the problem from the ground and what science, medical science and technology says about it and what is the way forward. Now we are going to welcome Dr. Brushabhanu Karan, 3 decades of experience in medical science, in psychiatry. He is an MBBS and MD, also a lifetime fellow of Indian Psychiatric Society. Welcome, Dr. Karan Saab.
Okay, good afternoon.
Given your work experience in the field of mental health, psychiatric disorder, in Bhubaneswar for last 30 years, how do you see the current problem in India and what is the way out? What is the way forward?
Thank you, Dashabu. Really, it is a beautiful question. Really, in my experience, I see that psychiatric problem is increasing rapidly. At present, 20% of Indian population, that is around 30 crore people, having this diagnosable psychiatric problem.
Oh, that's a big number.
Big number, it's a huge number. Just you can imagine some country, even America has 30 crore people. Okay. And we have a 30 crore people who need treatment. But as per the latest data, only 30% people have access to psychiatric treatment and 70% people, is the huge number, they have no access.
Right. So if I take the 30 crore people as the 100%, so that means 70% means around 21 crore people do not have access to.
Yeah. And apart from the availability of access, the stigma is a big problem. Right. Still, people are not approaching psychiatrists. Right. So that is also a big problem.
Right. So what is this problem? Why we do not approach a doctor who is a psychiatrist, who is trained to treat psychiatric patients and disorders? So what is the issue there?
The main issue, I think, in my 30 years experience, people still we have a dichotomy that mental disease and physical disease are different. But as for the latest science, all the mental diseases are disease of the brain. The really mental problems are symptoms of the disease of the brain. So for any psychiatric problem, there starts a chemical molecular changes in the brain. And like diabetes, suppose in diabetes, there is a problem in the insulin utilization or secretion. Similarly, in the psychiatric problem, there is some chemical problem in the brain. The chemicals like dopamine, acetylcholine, noradrenaline, or glutamic acid, there is so many chemicals that regulates our behavior, that regulates our feeling, and because of the various change factors, like it may be genetic, maybe the stress, maybe the lot of factors that affect. And first there are changes in the brain, then there is a behavioral changes. From behavioral changes, we can mark that a person has some problem.
Okay. So, how, for example, you said from the behavior we can understand whether the person has some mental health disorder. The modern lifestyle today, as we live, going to office, going to school, competitive atmosphere at school, at colleges, at jobs, also at workplaces. So, how this modern lifestyle impacts human existence? Does that also in a way trigger some mental health disorder?
100%, 100%. Because also mind is also part of the body. So physical, unless you do some physical exercise, physical exercise also greatly modulate our mental health. So first thing I will advise, to have a good mental health, we should have a good physical health.
Right.
Because brain is a part of the body.
Right.
So if you have a good exercise, good sleep, good diet, so that we can also have a brain health.
Right.
So nowadays in modern age, people are so much busy. They have no time to exercise, and there are also lot of family stress, lot of job stress. So everywhere stress, and they have no coping mechanism for the stressors.
Right.
So both they are physically not doing exercise, and stressors they are not able to manage the stress. So definitely they are culminating in the problem.
Right. So it is normally said that a healthy mind resides in a healthy body. Now coming back to stress, what triggers stress? Why our so many people, young people, especially in the Gen Z, why they are stressed and why stress affects, how stress is created? What is the scientific explanation of stress in the human body? Where it comes from? And once it comes, then how it affects the mind?
Okay. Really, what is stress? Stress is a feeling of discomfort. It's a mental feeling of discomfort. So it is various factors. It may be, as I told, social, environmental. Also because of some disease causes stress, suppose anxiety. By situation, by problem, it can cause anxiety. Also some people are genetically vulnerable to be anxious.
Okay.
So those we can prevent, like from our system, our education, our coping style. But those who have some vulnerability genetically, so they need treatment, medical treatment, intervention is required.
So it is also genetically also rooted.
Yes.
So there are. Can you explain a little bit how gene? We have understood that environment also impacts human behavior. How genetically? How do you know that someone is genetically prone to be stressed or prone to be depressed, or suffer from mental disease, or as today we are looking at a little advanced stage like dementia, schizophrenia, all that things are coming. So can you explain what is the genetic disorder that we're talking about that has a mental health connection?
Okay, it's a very beautiful question. Suppose I will tell a disease called bipolar disorder. Every common people of depression, that it is from Mahabharata, Arjun was also depressed. But there is a bipolar disorder where depression is one part. Another part, that person become hypomania, excited. What is bi mean two? So patient usually go through two phases in life: normal, depressed, then either active or become aggressive or become very euphoric. So mostly these problem affect 2 to 3% of population. Imagine.
Oh, 2%.
Suppose, yeah, more than two. Okay. And usually this is a genetical problem. And usually it affect youth. And usually it affect below 20 years.
Okay. Below 20 years
Below
age
20 years.
for
Which is
young
the,
people.
yeah, which is the student life, is the productive life. So this is a problem that you need medical intervention. By this behavioral or psychotherapy, you just can ameliorate some symptom,
Right.
but you
You can
cannot,
treat it.
yes, you can treat it like a medical problem,
It's a medical
like diabetes, like hypertension. It is a totally genetically hereditary problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right, so this is like in non-communicable diseases. India is also one of the leading countries. So we look at mental health as a non-communicable disease. So food also is creating trouble because sometimes the studies have been done that adulteration is there, the quality of food is not good, and then there is not enough organic we are getting because it is chemical, it is like pesticides are used in our food. Then do you see in your last 30 40 years of experience as a student first, then as a doctor, and then now an interventionist who is intervening, so what changes has happened during the during this period of 30 years? Why people are getting mental health crisis, into mental health crisis? Is food impacting in any way?
Yeah, it is also bidirectional because I see those people who are more anxious, they usually eat more because suppose food as work as anxiolytic. Most of the depressed people or those are anxious, they try to alleviate their anxiety through foods, and by through eating more they become obese, and also obesity causes depression. Yeah, yeah. So definitely also by adulterated food there are some there are some nutrients which is not properly available. So that also they also help in brain function. So because of excess food intake, and also because of not taking right proportion of the vitamin nutrients, they can also.
For example, today we have packaged food, which is sugar, salt, and oily, and they are tasty, but they may not have been nutritious. So when children are getting acquainted to this kind of food, they are not interested to eat something which you cook at home. So does this behavior change in food
Yes,
also
any oily foods, fast food, they make children irritable. Also in children nowadays there is a disease which happens in the children that you call autism, and now we call it is also autistic spectrum disorder, HD. So it is also rapidly increasing, and it is mostly also related to the foods. And it is a neurodevelopmental problem. It usually when a child is developing, and when that is something that is a circuits in the brain, so there will be problem. And because of some foods, as I sorry, as you told that if you some additives, you give some colors, they also some affect neurodevelopment.
Right. So, thank you for sharing that. That is also useful for our information and awareness. Now, tell us something out to our viewers. What can they do to understand that they might enter into depression, or they can get their signals? For example, if I am saying that I will get fever, I will get cold, there are symptoms. Body gives some symptoms. So we go to a doctor, and so it's I have this. So in mental health case, it is sometimes not known that I am myself going through, either I'm becoming delusional, or I'm becoming or I'm not trusting someone, or I'm becoming fearful, or I'm becoming anxious, or I'm sad for whatever reason. So how do I as a human being know that I might need some mental health support at one level, which is counseling, but another level which is medical intervention? So because we do not know, so that awareness doesn't exist, that is one. Second is how I can know that in my family or in my close circle, someone is going through some kind of situation
Problem, yeah,
which can
another
require mental health intervention. So first is personal awareness, and that how can that awareness be useful for my community where I live and where I work with.
really মানে to know the problem we should have insight. What is insight? Insight is your mental capability to know, mental ability to know. So in some mental diseases like anxiety or stress or mild depression, you can know the problem. Suppose in depression there will be lack of sleep or there will be feeling low, he will feel depressed, he cannot do the work, so he can know.
Energy will be down.
Yeah, down.
And you
So
might like to eat food more or
yes,
not
either more or less.
or no eating.
Yeah, so here patient has insight and judgment, so he will come to doctor. Doctor, I have this problem, please help me. But in some other psychiatric problem like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder in severe stage, or suppose a patient has a dementia which he himself or herself is not able to know.
Diagnose or no.
Yes, not know his problem.
Yeah.
When there is a dementia happens, he does not come to us. His relatives bring the
Family
patient.
and relatives.
Yeah. So when there is no judgment in some problem,
Yeah.
so patient cannot know. You know from the behavior of the patient.
Behavior of the patient.
So his relation, especially key relation, wife or
Child.
yes, parents.
Yeah.
So they detect the symptom, they bring us.
Right.
But in like insomnia, suppose you have a sleep problem, or you have anxiety, or you have panic symptom, like you can have a more heartbeat.
Yeah.
So they know the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So in that sense, we are trained in schools and colleges about mental health first aid. That how, as a teacher, when I'm teaching in a school or a college, how do I know that if a child who is sitting in the class, from observing, I'm observing for a long time, I'll be able to know whether the child is behaving in a particular way, which is like perhaps not all well with the child. So we are trained. So that way they identify that. So sir, talking about mental health rehabilitation. So like we have alcohol, drug rehabilitation or de-addiction centers across the country. What are the opportunities that, or what are the support system that a mental health rehabilitation center is there, that a person can go and perhaps after some point of time get rehabilitated and come back and naturally be treated there. So what opportunities and what systems and institutional support systems are there in India?
A lot of support system there, especially in private sector.
Yeah.
And also in de-addiction in some country, in some states like Punjab, there is also government sponsored lot of
Mental health support.
Yeah, de-addiction center there. And also for the rehabilitation, those for the minor problems who are treatable outdoor or in outdoor, we don't need any rehabilitation.
Okay.
Suppose those are like dementia or de-addiction, or those patients cannot be cured, so they need a long-term rehabilitation.
Long term.
Yeah, we have lot of center, but still because of the huge population, we have no adequate rehabilitation.
Like in Odisha, there is Olatpur for the physical rehabilitation of disability and accident and all that. So in that I was trying to understand whether this comes under Social Justice and Empowerment Ministry, and we visited that. Uday India team recently visited Olatpur and did a study there. So we're interested to know from your knowledge and information. So is there a center like that that is physical health, disability and all that? Here it is also a kind of mental disability. Mental health and this psychiatric disorders also make you mentally little disabled to function you at the best, at your optimum. So that is why I was interested to know if there is some equivalent government of India or private kind of hospitals or rehabilitation centers.
Yes, in government, every government headquarter hospital, in medical college, there is a system rehabilitation for de-addiction. Those are having addiction, they are there, but not adequate
As per the population requirement and the ratio, as you have already told that more than 70% of people no access, perhaps no awareness, no knowledge at one level, but also we need to create that institutional capacity as well. Awareness, prevention and remedial institutional capacity as well. So thank you, doctor, for giving us a broad overview of the mental health situation, the psychiatric disorder that people are facing today, and your precious 30 years of experience on ground and how you have been able to deal with the situation, and that is also you are seeing the rise of mental disorders among people, including bipolar, dementia, and other such mental health issues. Now, what we understand from your discussion that in India we need a mental health awareness revolution where young, old, everyone educated, they need to take this mantle to make Viksit Bharat a really developed one. Thank you. Thank you from Uday, India. Thank you, Doctor.